And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com. What's going on, everybody? Hey, I'm Stuttering Craig. Welcome to the #1 video game and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's Side Scrollers. We have a spectacular show today, as this is pre-recorded, although it is being shown live to you. This is actually available to patrons first for the last few days over at patreon.com/sidescrollers. Thank you guys so much for your support over there. So if you want to support over there, it'd be a great place to do it. But today, we have an awesome interview. Me and James Rolfe, a longtime friend, one-on-one, sitting down, reminiscing, hanging out, talking about the nerd, talking about old times at E3. Just a super fun conversation, and I look forward to sharing with you guys. Funny note, actually, while we were recording this, E3 was still a thing, and then shortly after we stopped recording, E3 was canceled. So you'll see the E3 talk in there, and there's the references there. I can't believe it was like within 30 minutes things were canceled. So appreciate you guys tuning in and enjoying that conversation. If you wouldn't mind, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Of course, the thumbs up button if you're listening to us over on Spotify or iHeartRadio. Give this a good 5-star ratings and a nice review. Those are always really nice. Really appreciate that stuff. In addition, make sure you guys find us over on Rumble. Rumble is a great place where you can watch our videos on demand. We'll be streaming there live very soon, in addition to here on YouTube and on Twitch. And let's see. Oh, if you like interviews, we did one with Darkside Phil. We've done one with the CEO of Tetris, Maya Rogers. Make sure you guys go watch those as well. If you guys like these long form interviews, they're always fun to check out. So like I said, always good stuff happen on the channel. You can find us Monday through Friday, of course, here at 11 o'clock Central Time. So with that said, let's get into this bad boy. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and make sure you hit the subscribe button, thumbs up, and all that jazz. Let's get into the conversation. Me and James Rolfe, one-on-one. All right, joining us now, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, James Rolfe, my boy, formerly the angry Nintendo nerd, the angry video game nerd for most of his career. How are you, buddy?
Oh, good. How you doing?
Man, I'm great. I'm great. It's always so fun to talk to you. We did this a long time ago, like three and a half years ago, and it was always fun to, just kind of get and connect.
We did, yeah. I'm having a little deja vu, but all kinds of deja vu, because really we did this like back in the beginning. We did this in like 2006.
Yes, yes. So we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah. I remember Side Scrollers. That was really like the first podcast I think I ever did, or maybe even the first one I even really knew. I mean, podcast wasn't even like really much of a thing back then. So
right, and now it's back. I mean, that's the fun thing about it is I remember seeing the Side Scroller stickers on the Nerd TV, and I always thought that was so cool.
I still have some of those stickers, actually.
I know. I gotta get you some new logo stickers. I don't know if you've seen the new logo, but the new logo is like the first one was the NES, the Nintendo logo, and now the new logo, as you can tell up there, it looks like the Super Nintendo logo. It's the next level. So we've gone from 8 to 16 bit. So
it makes perfect.
Gen 7 is out, so let's talk about the news. But it's fun because we've been doing this for such a long time, and we've had a lot of adventures together, and we haven't had a chance to hang out as much as we did when we started. But one of the earliest adventures I remember us going on was when it was 2007, and we went to E3 together, and it was you and me. And GameJew was there, Jonathan Mann, and Kyle. I think came to it as well because I thought
he came to that interview we did with GameTrailers. It was that special little trip.
Yes,
I remember that was my first plane trip post 9/11, because I remember for a while I was just scared of flying. I wasn't going to do it, and I think we even had a conversation on the phone before that trip, and I was kind of like, so how does this work? How do I get my boarding pass and stuff like this? I don't even know how to fly. And then after I did, it was not a big deal. And then we started doing it all the time. But that was a big big trip. It was the first time being recognized by somebody in public, I think, and that was on the West Coast. And then also we did that meet and greet at the bowling alley, and that was the first ever meet and greet. Um, and it was just spontaneous, and it was like maybe like 10, 20 people. But it was awesome. It was like, wow, this is like real life.
So I'm going to blow your mind because I have footage of all of those things, and I have footage of all those things. So I thought you want to watch one of them real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so let's first do this. I just found these in an archive that just said LA Montage 1. And there's 2 LA montages, and then I actually have footage of the bowling event that we did.
Oh, wow.
And you know, nowadays everybody has their like super high def phones, and they're out there like looking awesome, and you know, just doing selfies and stuff. But we were carrying around like an actual camcorder with tapes in it. You know, it was so clunky and stuff. But here's the first one we did. And you just tell me when to stop whenever you're ready, okay? We'll stop and talk about it.
Sure.
Take you for a ride in the car, take you a ride in the car, take you a ride in the car, let's go riding in the car.
Do you remember this?
Okay, yes, I do. So Jonathan Mann, he has such a talent of coming up with catchy songs. I mean, just on the fly, like there we are in the car, and he's like, "Take a ride in the car." To this day, I still remember that. It was just some little thing he did. Because like I'll try to get the kids in the car or something. I'm like, "Come on, we gotta go to school. Come on, ride in the car."
I do the same thing. I do the exact same thing. Yes, I sing that song all the stinking time. All the time.
Wow.
Yes, and like that song was sung for. There's like 4 of us in the car, and the fact that I don't even know if Jonathan remembers that song, but I remember that song. You remember that song. I don't know if Tom remembers that song, but it's just crazy to think about, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue.
One of his songs pop up somewhere else, and it's still just as catchy as ever. Like he did like that Baby Yoda song, and like things like my kids will be singing his. They like for real. They'll sing songs, and I'll be like, I recognize that voice. I know who that is.
It's amazing that in the giant landscape of the internet, right? Like Jonathan is so incredibly talented at just coming up with, as you said, just songs on the fly about any topic. And you know, but it's just like he was too early. He was too early online, you know, and had he been doing the exact same thing now that he was doing 15 years ago, he would be huge, like on TikTok or something along those lines. So it's crazy. Let's continue here. This is where we're climbing to the top of the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, we're actually like not very close to it, but we were at that time. That was kind of the closest we knew how to get to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Playing WarioWare for the first time at Game Juice house.
That's literally just what we did. We were like, well, we're here. Now what? Well, let's go to Game Juice house and we'll play some video games, play some WarioWare. Ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do here?
Do you remember this?
I vaguely remember. It was like it was the first time ever trying to be the nerd somewhere else other than at my own home. So it was like, okay, let's see if this character works out in like an improvised public setting. So it was it was an exciting time just trying all these different things.
It's so good. I remember I always had this thing for LA. Like you'll see here, I always thought LA was just full of like, you know, people just trying to be actors, and that was reflected in this edit here as we talk about this overarching pan across LA. Wonderful keyframing, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I'll say this, man. Just this right here.
Yeah.
Like, what a bunch of happy dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just totally happy to be there, you know?
Yeah, we handed the camera to some like jogger and was like, "Hey, can you get this real quick?"
We're sitting there, you know, Jonathan's in his Game Jew Mario outfit. You know, we got you and the nerd, and me and Tom just hanging out there looking all douchey. You know, it's like, it's awesome, man. Like, totally just happy to be there. Just totally just happy. Like, we're living life.
Yeah,
great,
I mean,
man.
none of us knew where all this web content was going or anything. It was just a pioneering time.
You're right, man. Like, I said, so many people have talked about that era, ScrewAttack and the early Angry Nerd, about, you know, kind of walking so a lot of people could later run, you know, and in the video game content space. And I think there's like a lot of truth to that, man. But you could tell, man, we all just get together having a good time. It was awesome. Good times for sure.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, the stripe through the TV. I don't even know if that happened.
What the fucking shit is this?
Like that's how it is.
I couldn't even tell. I do not remember what was on the TV.
I think that was WarioWare. I think that's what it was. We were playing WarioWare, and I think you just said a few nerdish lines at the time, and we sliced them into the video. And you know, it's always when the nerd says a funny punch, you know, says something funny. There's your ender right there for your video. It's
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It was such a simple time, and we were all excited because you know, we're there for E3, and you know,
that would have been the next trip.
Yeah, that's right.
Here, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. E3. Yes, this was when we were just getting on board with GameTrailers.
Yeah.
When we that's right. You're right. God. Okay. So I have this. I also have footage of the next meetup. Let's see. This was our trip to GameTrailers. That's what this is. So
yeah.
I don't know if you'll remember this either, but this obviously focused on me and Tom, but you were in it as well. Mm-hmm. And we'll just, you know, you tell me to stop whenever you're ready. So
sure.
TJ, are you ready for your close-up, buddy?
Look at that. Give him a little cut.
This is the first time I ever had makeup put on me.
Yeah, me too, I think.
Yeah. I
remember asking, I was like, so what is this? This is foundation. I'm like, okay, simple. Like
it was I remember there being so much excitement. Just like, oh my gosh. Like, we went to this. Do you remember going to the big building, the GameTrailers building? It was actually the MTV building.
Yeah.
And it just felt so big and encompassing. And I just felt like, whoa, we've made it. You know, this is it.
I mean, that whole trip, I think that was kind of the point of it. It was like, wow, we made it. You know, like even if nothing happened after that, that was kind of like, wow, like people saw the videos. I mean, that was just enough. But getting that type of treatment where I don't even know what it was about. I mean, it was just like we just kind of were in some of their like commercials and stuff, but it was cool. It was fascinating.
It was yeah, I mean, it was really interesting to kind of be a part of that, because my thought was like, they have somebody who puts makeup on people. How much money does this place make? You know, I was like, oh my God. They had these like really beautiful studios in the front. You'd walk in and like Amanda McKay, this girl here, she's, you know, she's the interviewer, and she's, you know, like obviously beautiful and smart, and it's like so out of our league. It was really let's continue. What do you think of his eyebrows?
They're full. They have a lot of body.
You know, a minute ago she said that they were longer than her bangs.
Let's check out those bangs.
They were longer. They were. Oh, there's some extra.
That's just my nose hair.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
No.
Just totally getting pampered here. Like,
yeah,
you walk in and she's essentially like, yeah, you look like crap, but let me help you look better for the camera.
You guys all look like shit. Let's fix you up.
Right. You You plebes, you just random jerks off the street. That's what it felt like. It felt like we were
Yeah,
just.
I know. It's kind of like on one hand, I was like, well, this makes me feel kind of like a star, but wait a minute, do I need makeup? Do I look that bad? Like, like I don't, you don't know how to feel about it. It's one of those type of things.
Very, very self-deprecating. You're like, oh, and I think there's actually a line in here. I think I asked her what. Let's keep watching. Let's see what she says. Hey, there's Amanda McKay. Come here.
Hi.
Can you come here?
She doesn't want to.
Come on. I look so young. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hi.
Come on up.
Yeah.
Stand in between us.
Okay.
It won't be uncomfortable at all. Hey, so what's going on?
Not much. I'm here to interview you guys. I'm going to ask you all the deep questions. You're not supposed to ask me.
I thought that was so bizarre.
What was?
Like that she was asking us questions. It's like, why would you ask us questions? Well, who the hell are we? You know, we're just some dude. You know.
I know.
was like,
yeah.
like-
Especially me, because I was trying to be the nerd. I wasn't even myself in that interview. It was like, let's be a character. And I never did the character before in any type of improvised setting. And it usually never works. I mean, that's kind of when I found that out too, where I was like, well, it's more like the nerd's more like a scripted character. It's not like a Sacha Baron Cohen who like goes around in character and like he is that character, or you know who, somebody we know very well, Nathan Barnett.
yes.
He'll do these great characters and doesn't break character and everything. Yeah, the nerd never really worked out that way, but it was fun trying it out.
So this was the interview that taught you that, like the nerd is a scripted character.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been some other occasions where like at a convention or something, I'd show up with the shirt, or you know, some of the old with the Iron Man of gaming, and then the ScrewAttack SGCs, you know. Yeah, sometimes I do that. It sometimes helps when you're playing a game, though. If you want me to play a game and get mad and curse, that's pretty easy.
Just put a game in front of you and just let the nerd slowly seep out over time.
Yeah, but future interviews, I was just like, I'll just be myself.
I think that was actually legitimately very smart of you. The idea that some people can't separate the character and the person, and I think that's something that you've actually done really well over the years. Is people know that James is a person and the nerd is a character, and I think that people legitimately appreciate that about you. You know, the fact that you can be those two things.
Oh, well, thanks.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we're supposed to ask you the deep questions?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to
Do you have a boyfriend?
Yes, I do.
That is a good question. Craig, you're out of luck now, man. What are you going to do?
What do you think when you see that young face?
Oh, just reminds me of that time. Yeah, I don't know. It just,
Simpler times, I would imagine, right?
yeah, I would say so.
It's crazy. What was he before? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, what was he prior to you working on him?
1 to 10. You got to have like a name, like
We're like a
Like on a scale of
6.2.
6.2.
Yeah,
What is he
done,
after?
Yeah. What am I? When you're done, what am I
10.
going to be? I'm going to be a 10 when she's done. 10.
9.8 if you don't upkeep doing this.
It's a damn shame. Not all of us can be on camera.
That's going in there.
Lord, all right.
You guys would ask the funny questions.
Well, we'd ask the questions, but you know, really, like they were most excited to see the nerd. You know, that I think that I remember leaving there being like, because I remember what was his name? Brad Winters. He was the guy who ran GameTrailers. You remember Brad?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember him being like, I remember having that conversation about, is your interview, is it going to be as James or is it going to be as the nerd? And I remember I remember your trepidation about that. You know, like, I don't know, you know. I wish I guarantee that is just lost forever, that interview. And I guarantee people would love to see that, man. The first time like the nerd had his like coming out party at GameTrailers. It was fun, man.
Yeah,
Fun times.
you know what I'd like to see again that I don't think exists is all the because I would work with Brad and Shane and all those guys for Spike TV also, and with Spike TV, they'd send me to Comic-Con a lot, and we would do these little videos of just going around the floor and just trying to see stuff. And as far as I know, that stuff was just on the Spike TV website. And then you don't think about it at the time, but later, like all that stuff is just gone. And now it's like, wow, those would be some good memories. So I don't know, maybe they're out there still. I don't know.
Just washed over by the internet, just slowly over time, just washed over and just all deleted. It's got to be somewhere on a hard drive or a tape or something, you know. But who knows? It's like the Lost Ark. It's just out in this big this big warehouse space of just footage from Spike TV. Remember Spike TV?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. All right.
So I got footage of the bowling alley?
I do. I do. So first off, what do you, okay, you said this is the first time we did a community meetup, and it was. What do you like vividly remember about this?
Well, I remember it was last minute. We just decided, you know, like I think you put a call out on the site, I think on the ScrewAttack site. And I put a call out just to some friends in the area. I have a lot of LA friends, and I just told them all to meet here. So it was like a mix of fans and like old friends that I hadn't seen in a long time. I remember my old friend Mark and Kevin Finn was there. And I remember Jonathan Gameju was on top of the air hockey table, just sitting on it with his guitar, just playing songs, and he would just take requests. And he seemed to remember almost anything you requested of his. And it was in the, you know, the little arcade off to the side. And I remember we had like 3 things going at once. Like we had a bowling game going on where I would just throw the ball and not even look at it if it hit anything. And I'd walk over here and grab a drink from the bar and then go over here and start talking with some fans and then go to the arcade. And it was just this rotation. And I had the shirt on the whole night. I think I was wearing the nerd shirt. And yeah, that's how I remembered it. It was just kind of like just a big party.
Yeah, I think it only lasted like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, something. And I remember us deciding to do this, and we were hanging out with Brandon from GameTrailers, and he's like, "Well, how about we go get together?" And we're like, "Yeah, we'll do something, you know, with the community." And I remember having to go find a computer to update the website. Nowadays, you just like post something on Twitter or social media, but I had to go find a computer and like log in and find an internet signal to make a post about it. And yeah, like people actually showed up, and it was like, what? what? That's insane.
You remember the first guy? You actually witnessed the first guy recognize me. It was before that at the after getting off the plane, we went to an In-N-Out burger, I think.
Yes.
And the guy came up to me and he's like, "I love your videos, man." And like, and I was like, "Really? Oh my God."
Yes. There's that In-N-Out burger right next to LAX. And I think that's where we stopped. We stopped there, and this guy was just like, "Hey man," and all of a sudden it just became
like a punk rocker thing going on a little bit. Had a little of a punk rock style. He had a lot of black leather, and yeah, this guy was just all in. He's like, "I fucking love your videos. They're great," you know. And I'm like, holy shit.
Isn't it amazing that you remember that first fan like so distinctly?
Yeah, and I remember after you left, and I was kind of thought about like, did that happen? I looked at you, and you were just like you know, like, yeah, that happened.
It's crazy, man. It's like, where's the weirdest place that you've been recognized?
Weirdest place that I've been recognized? Boy, I bet I have a good answer, but nothing's coming to mind.
I'll tell you mine before so it'll give you a chance to think. I was walking in a Walgreens, like just like a drugstore, and I was going down the aisle, like getting some medicine for my kid. And this guy's like, "Hey man, are you Craig?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Cool. I love your videos." And I was like, "Thanks." And he's like, "We'll see you later." It was very Dumb and Dumber, like big gulps, huh? Where he's like, "Hey, cool. Well, see you later." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh, cool.
Do you
Yeah.
do you recall any insane places that somebody just recognized you out of the blue?
Can't think of anything insane, but usually, I'll get recognized at a at a theme park or at a at a store or yeah, that's
Is it ever jarring for you when somebody walks up and like they ask you for your autograph or a picture or whatever?
oh, sometimes if you're not really expecting it, then it might be a little jarring, but it's never bad. It's always yeah, it's the perfect level of famous. It's not like hard to go out in public. I never get like a ton of people coming up at once. So it's always very moderate and very comfortable. So yeah, it's always great.
Do you um you said that like the perfect level of fame, right? Do you consider yourself like famous at all?
Not really. I mean, I don't. Some people remind me of that, but it's not something I really think about. Yeah, it is kind of a weird term. It's like fame because at first it was like, well, okay, I'm famous on the internet though. It's on the internet. It's not like
Like a little asterisk in the corner.
yeah,
I'm famous.
yeah, but
Right.
now it's like the internet's it's the same thing. It's yeah, the internet is probably bigger than television. I would take it at this point.
Drastically. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. Well, so let's check out this bowling thing.
Okay.
I'm excited to show this to you. Okay,
Mm.
here we go.
Winner gets nachos.
Like that. That's what the like. That's we're playing some serious high stakes.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
$4 nachos from the concession stand.
Yeah. This
Oh
place
my
is
god.
closed now, by the way.
Yeah, like people don't know this. We were actually we talked about this for like 2 years, like in the middle, like probably towards the end of like 2020. We both kind of we started we were texting each other and we were talking about the idea of like doing an event like this
Mhm.
like at this bowling alley.
Mhm.
And we talked about this for a while. But then we found out it was closed. This
Yeah,
place
yeah.
got closed by the pandemic, unfortunately. So let's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, let's see how I do. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, got a ball. Yep. There it is. Oh, look at him go.
What's that?
Oh, I was like, look at him go.
Yeah, just going hard. I love it.
Yeah.
After the dance, look at that strike. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're number one.
Yeah, that's right. The G1s are done tonight.
Yeah.
I think I threw it in the other lane or something.
Yeah, I threw many like that too that night.
I'm so stinking dumb.
Two gutter balls in a row. That was terrible.
Is this not like the most 2007 video you've ever seen? Just from like a production standpoint, it's all like shaky all over the place, and
Yeah. Uh-huh.
it feels
That was
very
when
much like a product of its time.
Yeah, it was when your camera and your phone weren't the same thing.
Right, right. I mean, I very much remember walking in with you'd run out of tape. We only have 30 minutes of tape left, and you'd be, walking around. Like, this is so home movie now when you look at this. And I think that's one of the things that I look back on, especially around that time. Like, as I get older and my kids get older, and I tell them about, these adventures that I went on with my friends, and like I can actually show them, which is like
Mhm.
really, really cool. And I'm pretty grateful for that. Just
Yeah.
it's neat, pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool just seeing this again. I don't think I've seen any of this footage. Like, I might not have ever seen it actually. I might not never have seen this footage, to tell you the truth.
Just perfect,
Yeah.
because I love it. Is it jarring any memories for you?
I guess the memories are all already there. So just seeing it is just like, it's supplement. It's like an added, like confirmation and stuff like,
Right. Right. That's excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Drinking a beer, going up.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
So dumb. Like no lights on anybody, no production at all. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I remember when we got a light for our camera, that was like a really big deal. I was like, whoa, we can light people. And
Yeah. And the iPhones tend to, pick up light a lot better too. And then it seems like every time they release a new one, it's always like, there's some new feature like, now you can make the background out of focus and um, do all kinds of cool stuff.
and here we are just with our little shit camcorder making internet videos in 2007.
Yeah.
All right, we got some nachos.
That was fun.
When you hear the ScrewAttack intro and outro, does that do anything for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like, oh yep, there it is. That was at the beginning and end of every video.
Yep. Yeah, it was fun. I got some. We'll get to some community questions in a minute. Those of you guys tuning in, I asked our patrons over there at patreon.com/sidescrollers if you guys wanted to submit some questions, and I have a bunch of those because I thought it'd be neat for folks to be able to ask you things they've always wanted to know. So we'll do that in just a little bit. But I was curious.
E3 also.
What's that?
We talk more about E3 also.
For sure. Well, let's talk about E3 because that's actually one of the things we've been like texting about is so E3 is like it's essentially dead because no companies are going to it anymore.
Yeah. So I was just at PAX last weekend and I found it kind of astonishing how well, Sony wasn't there. There was no Microsoft, and Nintendo had a low presence. Like, they have a new Zelda game coming out in 2 months or less, which is basically done. And there's a gameplay video out that just came out now, and it was kind of shocking that they didn't have it there at all. And I've talked to people about this, and I've heard a consensus of like big companies like that don't want to put the money out because it doesn't really make as much sense. They can just stream it instead of doing like a big press conference. And I mean, I still can't get past that they didn't have like a demo of the game or something there to play. But yeah, but I remember when we went to E3 back then, you would go to a big presentation, Miyamoto would come out, and I get it. I get that that's expensive to pull all that off, but it was kind of exciting where it would create this buzz, and then you could make content off of it. Like I was just at the Nintendo press conference, and I saw this happen, and it's it was exciting, and I guess that kind of thing is just in the past now. So that's another thing that I remember about those times, which was kind of novel now.
Yeah, well, the idea of a like the industry event is more or less dead, but the community events, though, like you said, like the PAXs, the old SGCs, like those are still very much alive because people still want to get together and talk about games. But from like an industry perspective, they said E3 this year, there's people saying like it was. I think E3 this year they were hoping to announce it and people would be like, "Yay, E3's back!" And then Nintendo was like, "Yeah, we're not going to go," and Microsoft's like, "Yeah, we're not going to go," and then Sega's like, "No, we're out," and
Sony,
right, and everyone's just like has no interest, and so it's crazy to think about. But yeah, there was absolutely a very unique feel. You could feel the energy of E3 at the time, which I always love that. Love that.
Yeah,
it's funny
for the private concert with the Who. Wasn't that amazing?
Dude. Come on.
It's one of those things where I can't even believe it happened.
I don't remember even how we got into that.
I don't
But
even, yeah, I just remember it happened out of nowhere. Like, I didn't know I'd be seeing The Who that day, and,
yeah,
like, I thought it was like a joke or a rumor or something because you saw people were wearing Who shirts and everything. Like, "Oh, yeah, The Who's playing," and I'm like, "Yeah," I didn't think it was real. And next thing, we're all, like, lined up to go to this, a Guitar Hero, or was it a Rock Band?
it was Activision, so I think it was Guitar Hero. I
Okay.
think. I don't remember, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was an Activision event because they're the only people who like could afford that type of thing to rent out a venue and let everybody in for free, and then
Mhm.
bring in the Who of all things.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't think I'd be seeing The Who at a video game convention. Um,
Right.
and they come out on stage unannounced, and they just kicked ass for 2.5 hours. It was a full set. Like, I thought, okay, if that really happens, it might be a few songs, but it was a full Who show. And yeah, I tell people about that still this day. I'm like, that was just one of those unexpected things, which that then it would make you think every year. You're like, oh well, I wonder who's going to show up. Like, what's going to happen next? And well, I guess nothing's happening now.
No, not really. Not really. I think that was definitely probably the crazy thing about the video game industry is there's so much money attached to these games and these franchises, and the marketing budget attached to that. I mean, think about this. That happened 15 years ago, whatever it was, and we're still talking about that moment where we got to go see the Who play, and for me that ties to Activision. So I think that probably was money well spent for them. I would like to think. I don't know if they sold enough games for it, but that was definitely insane. I remember looking over at you and being like, "Holy shit!" Like this is amazing. And you were like, a kid in a candy store, just looking over at you and being like, "Yeah, let's go!"
Yeah.
Oh man, what an amazing adventure. Um, Golly, is that your favorite like E3 memory?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of cool stuff. I remember we would go to these like little like press conference things, and then we went to this one, and like Slash and Stan Lee both showed up. Um, just you never knew who was going to drop in, and um, you didn't know like what party we were going to get into afterwards. And like, remember that Microsoft party? That was
Yes.
yeah. So there's a picture of me with Peter Moore at some point, and I don't know where. I've never found the picture or seen it since, but we're like at the pool flexing or something, and um, yeah,
I know. Hold on. I know exactly. I'm going to Google that really quick. I am positive I can find it because I know exactly what you're talking about. We were there with Cheapy D from Cheap Ass Gamer,
mhm.
and it was us, you, Cheapy D, and then yeah, Peter Moore walks in, and you're right. He was doing the flexing because that's where he unveiled Grand Theft Auto on his arm, and so everyone who was doing the flex, man, I would love to see that picture. I know somebody can find that picture online. Golly, that was crazy to think about, like just the random moments there. And I remember thinking like he was really cool.
Yeah, and the way it was set up too, it's like the pool was like glowing green, and everything was green. Like the tables were like these big cubes that were lights that were green. So everything was in like, the Xbox color. Um, there's these little tents where they had Rock Band, or was it Guitar Hero? I forget again. Um, but yeah, nobody was in the pool from what I remember. I think everybody was just
Yeah, it was one of those like it was there just to be there. Like it was just cool. You're there in LA. I'm actually
yeah.
looking through some old texts
Mhm.
from Cheapy D to see if I have the picture because I think I want to say he texted it to me not too long ago, and I was like, whoa. But yes, for some reason, like that picture will always resonate with me in my mind. Like that was quintessential E3 for me for sure. Just all of us standing around taking pictures with Peter Moore, who now owns he's like a president of like a soccer team in England or something. Like
Oh yeah.
he's like a big player. That guy. It's crazy. So yes, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I got we'll get to community questions here in a minute. We were going to play a game of Do You Own It? But I think we'll since we only have an hour, maybe we'll hold that off for another time, because obviously your game collection is vast and ridiculous.
Oh yeah, unless it's in one of the questions, maybe if they ask about a game or something.
There are a couple of them. Well, I'll tell you what, since we only got about 20 minutes left, let's go ahead and get to some of these questions, and you can answer them however you see fit. So
Sure.
let's do that. This first one is from Chief Skarnak. Here you go. Let's get to this question.
James, Side Scrollers crew, this is Chief Skarnak. And my question to James is, will you or have you ever considered doing an AVGN episode about Pokemon? I can offer a few suggestions.
Oh, he's good.
He thinks he can help you out.
Okay. Let's see if I have them. I am looking right now.
Sure, I'm sure you have the Pokemon somewhere in your ridiculous collection.
Yeah, even if I don't have those exact same ones, I know I have some of them. It looks like I'm going to have to do a Pokemon episode at some point.
I would think so. It's probably one of the last big franchises that you haven't really touched, at least a classic franchise that's still like extremely relevant. Have you personally ever played them?
No.
Yeah.
I can't recall playing any Pokemon games. I tried Pokemon Go at one point to just see what the hell that was all about. Do people still play that? Or is that
Yes.
Yeah.
People still play Pokemon Go. It's crazy. Yeah. That thing's been out for like 4 or 5 years now. It seems like it was definitely pre-pandemic. So crazy. All right. So maybe a Pokemon episode in the future.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I say maybe, it's like everything eventually happens. Like I still geez, I finally just did Kid Icarus. I finally did a Doom episode. I finally, you get around to these things eventually.
How many episodes are we at right now with the nerd?
207, something like that. Yeah.
That's crazy. I remember when I first emailed you, I remember seeing the 2 that were on YouTube at the time, which I believe was Karate Kid, and I remember Karate Kid. And I remember having the conversation. We may have talked about this in the other podcast, but I don't remember. I remember we had done I'd done a video game vault on Ninja Turtles on TMNT. And I remember you asking, be like, you think it's cool if I do an episode on Ninja Turtles? And I was like, yeah, of course. Why would it not be awesome? And I think that was the first episode that was actually on ScrewAttack back in the day. And it's oddly enough one of the most iconic nerd episodes in history, with the whole you can walk over it thing. And
yeah,
is awesome, man. Good times.
Yeah, it's the first one a lot of people saw.
Oh yeah, for sure. Are there any games or franchises that you want to hit on as the nerd that you haven't yet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You mean big franchises
anything?
Oh, I mean, I'm thinking about Metroid some point. Because I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? It doesn't have to be a bad game. You could take a really beloved game franchise, and then you could find a few shitty things about it. But as long as you make the video kind of a mix of informative, entertaining, and nostalgic.
Well, if you do something about Metroid,
eventually, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, because I got a lot planned where all these ideas are fighting with each other. It's like, okay, which one's next? Which one's next? We got a good one coming up. So,
any details you want to?
I'll tell you later, but
okay, sounds good.
It's a good one.
If you do Metroid, I don't want you to spoil anything. If you do Metroid, do me a favor. Just try to find a way just to maybe write me in for a line or something along those lines. Okay. I still get recognized. People you were a great ghost of Christmas past.
Okay. Well, that's where the name came to, ScrewAttack. So
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go to another Patreon question. Once again, you guys can support over at patreon.com/sidescrollers. This is from Melee Games.
Hey James, Charisma from Melee Games here. Just curious to hear how the experience has been for you as a new father, showing your kids your favorite movies or TV shows. Do you have any special memories or things that you've shared with your kids? Any particular shows that you've shown them? And, I think that's an amazing part of fatherhood, so I'm excited to hear about that. I know for me, I'm really excited to show my future kids Star Wars.
I think it's a really cool question.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and good luck, with the future, you know, child raising and everything. Yeah, there are a lot of great things I get to show them. It's usually not planned. Like usually, it's hard to be like, "Hey, I want to show you this," and you show it, or they won't be interested or something. But on these very spontaneous like moments, you'll find something that they just get really into, like Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo, which is 6. My youngest daughter, like she just loves watching me play that for some reason. Like in the fight scenes, like she'll go up to the TV and imitate what they're doing, and then does like the victory dance at the end. Um, she's like humming the music and everything, and um, so
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
it's cool.
great.
Like yeah, so things you don't think they would like, they like, but then other things you try to show them or play with them, then they won't. So it's not or sometimes you hit the nail on the head, like lemmings. I'm like, oh, I bet she'll like lemmings, and yeah, she did. She got obsessed with that for a bit.
Was there anything that you've tried to show your kids that they've been like, nope? Like, what's the
Oh
biggest
yeah.
disappointment where you tried to show it to them? You're like, they're gonna love this, and then they
Oh
just
yeah,
like
and then they don't.
reject it to half court.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let me think on that.
I love there's so many times where my brother tries to, it's like my brother's trying to have his kids live in like 1987. He's like showing them all these things that he liked growing up,
Yeah, yeah,
and a lot of it's a big miss, but they do like a lot of the same things. I think at the end of the day, good stuff is just good stuff. Good
yeah,
videos, good movies, they resonate with whatever generation it is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like you said, yes, sometimes it's a miss, and sometimes, yeah, sometimes it isn't. But there is that like aspect too, where it's like you don't want to just be like that dad that's trying to show you all the stuff that you liked and hope that they like it.
Mhm.
Like there's kind of like a stigma about that too.
Right.
But no, it's cool to share stuff with them. Just kind of give them the options, and you know, yeah, you'll never really know, but you just kind of have fun in the moment with that, and yeah, it's great.
Being a dad, like I've said this many times, like I feel that there was Craig pre-kid, and then there's Craig post-kid. Like it changes you as a person to your core.
Hmm.
I don't, did you feel that way, like about being a dad, or
Oh, sure, it's like a
I don't know.
whole
For me, it's the
new.
best thing ever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like a whole new responsibility and everything. So it becomes a lot more important than everything else. Um, so yeah, for sure. And then I kind of try to keep some of
Vulcan
my
Brady. Oh,
oh, what's
good.
up? Oh, I try to
Oh no,
keep some
sorry.
of my
Sorry.
humor.
The internet got a little messy.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
James. Go ahead, buddy.
okay. Yeah, I just try to keep some of my humor and personality and transcend some of that in there, and like entertain them, or like I'll read them a book or something, and I'll do the voices in like a silly voice or something like that and make them laugh, or just like, you do stuff like that, and that's the best when you make them laugh.
Speaking of kids, like, do your kids know, like, do they know about the nerd? Do they know about the character and all that? Like, I mean, I don't know. Just curious.
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually wish I knew the answer because I don't know. I really don't, because I think they get it because they're in this room and they see like here, let me grab something.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They'll see like like this kind of stuff
Uh
just like
huh.
in the room, and it's like, oh, that looks like you, daddy, and it's like, yeah, that's who it's supposed to be. Um, so they get it and they know. Um, but they don't really ask about, like, they're not really interested. If they do ask, then I'll tell them all about it, but they're not really, you know, like, it's not really like a big deal right now to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So I went to I was asked to speak at Career Day at my
Mhm.
kid's school, and they introduced me as like a YouTuber, right? And so naturally they all go like, "Do you know Mr. Beast or do you play Roblox?" And like they all
Uh-huh.
want to know, "Do you play Minecraft?" And I'm like, "No, I'm old. I don't play that." So,
Oh,
so
yeah,
but it's pretty amazing. But like I don't think my kids understand what I do, and they're a little bit older than yours, and I don't think they also have any interest either.
Mhm.
It's not something that you can really explain. Like I'm a fireman. I'm a paramedic.
Mhm.
It's a little different. I'm a
Yeah,
YouTuber. I talk about video games for a living. It's like, okay.
yeah. But you know what? It's like it at the same time, it's not as weird as it used to be because, YouTuber, like, they know what YouTubers are, they watch YouTubers, so it's like, um, to explain it, you don't really have to explain it quite as much, where it's like, oh, it's like one of those, you know? Um, where it's like it's kinda like a more common kind of job than it was, like, 10 years ago. So, there's very because back then it would just be like, "Yeah, well, I make videos on the internet," and it comes off weird.
Mhm. I remember registering the business ScrewAttack, and I remember I was on a phone call with somebody, and this was 2006, whatever, mid 2000s,
Mhm.
and I was on a phone with the state of Texas registering the business, and they go, "Well, what's the name of your company?" And I said, "ScrewAttack Entertainment." And ScrewAttack already sounds kind of dirty, right?
Mhm.
And she goes, "Well, what type of business do you do?" And I said, "Well, we make videos online on the internet." And she immediately was like, "So you do pornography?" And I was like, and I was like, "No, no, we don't." And having to explain the idea of what making videos online
Yeah,
in 2000,
yeah.
and that time was totally different. You're right.
I think I remember
Crazy.
we had that, like, either as, like, a slogan or on your business card or something where it was, like, "Not a porn site." Like, wasn't that a
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually where it came from, was that phone call, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, yeah, porno, porno." We just had to let people know. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, so let's get to some more patron questions. Vulcan Brady says, "As a filmmaker yourself, how do you feel about studios using deepfake AI and CGI tech to put dead actors into new films?"
Really good question. I think if as long as the family signs off, I think it's good, as long as they do it really respectfully and they have a good reason to do it, um, then I'm all for it. I can't think of too many examples though where I thought it was really, uh, really purposeful. Like sometimes I see it, I'm like, "Oh, I could take it or leave it." Because 'Cause I'm trying to think, there's a lot of de-aging. There's probably more de-aging than, bringing back dead actors.
Mhm.
Like, I haven't seen too much of that yet, but, um, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think, that where is this all going? Like, is it gonna become so common that one day it's gonna be like, you can just watch like, new movies with, like, actors, from, like, even the '40s or something, like, one part of me thinks that's really cool, but also it's kinda, it's kinda weird too.
Well, I mean, hypothetically, the angry video game nerd could live forever
Yeah.
if you really want to get weird about it. By the
Yep.
way, um, with AI technology, I actually saw there's like have you seen the AI version of the angry video game nerd? Have you seen this?
No, I haven't, somebody
Oh,
told me about it one time, but yeah, apparently, like, AIs are all over the place now. It's like a big thing now.
yeah. It doesn't really sound like you, to be honest with you, but
Yeah, yeah, I know, yeah, but,
but
like, I I heard, like, a lot of people are, like, worried about AI replacing, like, artists, like, even, like, AI, images and paintings and stuff, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really s I mean, I can't see it replacing real people, like, I just don't know, like, that doesn't sound like something that, because 'cause you're gonna want a real artist. but I've said the same thing about like, I don't know, like cell phones or something, you know what I mean? Like, so who knows?
Who knows? Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows anymore?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, let's continue on with these questions. Evan says, "Hey James, been watching your work since the ScrewAttack days. Love the nerd and all your other stuff. Special love for your video store homage in your basement." He says, "What's something great that you've learned about your work or yourself during the past 20 years that you tell your younger self?"
Oh, something I learned about me and my work, that I would tell my younger self.
Mhm.
Yeah, really good question. Um, I think the main message would always be to live in the present, live in the moment, because a lot of times I would get so wrapped up in tasks like, okay, this video's got to get done so the next one can get started, and like it's like this endless list, and like you never get on top of it. You're just like, oh, I got to keep doing these videos, keep doing them, but just enjoy the one you're working on right now. Like whatever step in the process you're at right now, just enjoy it. Don't worry about like when it's going to get done, when it's going to come out, and just just enjoy it.
Just enjoy what's happening right then and there, and then you can look back on the fun stuff later, like we've done today, which is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So, Wiley wants to know. He says, out of all the projects you've done or been a part of, what was the most fun? And of all the guest stars you've had on, who was the most enjoyable to work with?
Hmm. What was the guest character? But then also, what was the first part again?
What was the most fun project you've been a part of?
Okay. Most fun project, because I'm trying. It could be somebody else's project.
Yeah, any project that you really enjoyed being a part of.
Wow. Let me see.
Like a top three, or just ones that come to mind right off the bat.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, like, Dragon in My Dreams was a really good one that I made. But I'm trying to think, like, as far as like other projects that I've been in. Uh, like, okay, like I remember sometimes acting in another feature film was always fun. So I remember doing the Plan 9 remake with Darkstone Productions. That was really fun. It was great, meeting people. Of course, making my own film and all the people I met there. And then guest characters, like they've all been great. But I think the one that probably sticks out the most is Macaulay Culkin, because um, he was he's basically the same age as me, so he fits right in. Like he plays these kind of games, and it was kind of funny how um, he hadn't even played all of his his own games. Um, but he wanted to play Page Master, and we played that based on the movie that he was in. And I remember him telling like funny stories about how he would like buy those games with his own money. Like just imagine Macaulay Culkin walking into a store and buying a game with his face on it. It's just such a funny thing to imagine.
It's he seemed like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, I mean, he was just like us. He was just like, you know, just you and me, sitting here playing games. It was the same thing. Um, you kind of like almost forgot that he's like this, world famous celebrity, because he's so down to earth and so cool.
That's awesome. His brother is doing like really good things. And have you seen Succession, the show?
Oh no, I haven't.
Oh man, it's a really good show. His brother is a pretty big actor in that. It's crazy, man. A lot of talented folks in that family.
Yeah.
So let's go one last one here. Cody says, "Do you have any future plans or upcoming projects that are on the scale of the AVGN movie?
Oh, on the scale of the AVGN movie?
Just big projects."
Oh, like that big? No, no, not that big, I don't think. That was a monster project. Um, but things big like that, yes. I but I mean, the AVGN movie, that's just like insanity. You know how many times people told us before we started that movie, like people who we were trying to get on board to work on it with us, everybody we went to was like, you're not going to be able to make this. This is impossible. Like they would look at the script and be like, this is insane. Like this is going to be, this is what you wrote was like a multi-million dollar movie. Like you can't do this. But we did it.
Where does that rank, like as far as the AVGN movie? You taking this idea and going from beginning to end to it. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you did not raise multiple millions of dollars to produce this. You actually did it on a very shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Where does that rank in, like, on your scale of accomplishments?
Oh, I mean, that's gotta be like number one as far as, film stuff. Um, as far as like, your artistic projects, like you know, uh, that's all the way up there.
Awesome. It's awesome. Do you any idea, like, you ever thought like, oh, it'd be fun to do a sequel?
Oh, if we did a sequel, it would probably be animated or something. I'm trying to think like what would be, because like now how do you do it where you don't have the option to just not sleep and be like
Right.
making the movie every hour of every day for like years. How do you do that now that you have kids? You can't just like, you know, neglect your family and go do something like that. It's just not possible right now. But I'm not trying to do a movie like that again because that movie was like it had so many locations, so many effects. Um, Almost every like second of that movie was like in a different place. It was just shot, 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 shot. But the ones that I'm working on now are going to be more like more focused on one kind of thing. Where that movie was a big sampler platter, but now it's going to be like a main course. Um, uh, so yeah, there's multiple ones. There's one that I have a script that I'm like, okay, this could be shot, and then there's another one where I'm like, uh, maybe I'll make this one first, because I'm trying to write like a more constrained, like one room type of movie. You ever see any of those movies where it's like one room, but it's like
Yeah.
just really good dialogue and it just
Mhm.
grips you all the way?
Yeah, I've seen. There have been some scenes. There's a movie that came out recently. It's actually a few years old. I watched it on Netflix recently called "Dragged Across Concrete." I think it is, and it has, um, golly, who was in it? It has a couple pretty well known actors in it, but it's filled with just like long static shots. It's very like it's 2 hours and 30 minutes long, and it's one of those movies that has like 2 minute static shots of just conversation. It has Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, and they're like cops. It's from 2018. It's on Netflix. It was I wouldn't say it was like a super enjoyable watch, but I couldn't stop watching it, if that makes sense. You know?
Okay.
Like, yeah, but it had a lot of those like really like long drawn out 30 to 45-second singular shots that led to a runtime of like two and a half hours. But I feel like, how would they remove any of that stuff? I think it's kind of just the pacing of the movie, and I appreciated that.
Oh, cool.
So if you get a
Yeah, I'll have to
chance,
check that out. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, but every year I'm working on something, so it's like I'm happy no matter what I'm working on. As long as I'm doing something. Like I released my book last year, and working on a music project, um, and thinking of short films, feature films. It doesn't. Everything's kind of just in this Rolodex. So as long as I'm working on something, I'm always happy. I just love doing art. Um, it's healthy for the mind.
Do you see a day where you're like, it's time for the nerd to go, or just retire the nerd and just kind of keep him there in the back, and Cinemassacre focuses on other things outside of the nerd?
Um, Not yet. At some point, of course, but I don't see it anytime soon. So I don't know. I'll let you know when that time comes. But right now, I just don't see. I just see an endless amount of games. It's like, hey, let's just keep doing this because it's fun, and Uh, yeah, the ideas never stop. It's therapeutic. It's entertaining to people. Um, and yeah.
It seems like you've taken a more hands-on approach to some of the nerd episodes lately, which has been really really cool to
Mm.
see. I think a lot of people have really enjoyed kind of the classic nerd
Oh, cool.
style episodes. It's been really neat. I think a lot of people really enjoy that, and I think the interesting thing about like the nerd character is that people have grown with the character.
Yeah.
They've grown with you. They've grown, so
Yeah,
there
I'll
was
go to
this.
a convention. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. This is you,
Oh,
not me.
oh, okay. Well, I'll go to a convention and because I've been doing some more of those lately. And long ago, it would be like the father would come in and no, no, no. It would be the kid would come in and it was like a young fan, and then his father is there. Like he brought his father with him. But the kid is the fan, right? Like the father doesn't really know anything. He's more like old school and everything. But now the father is the one who's the fan, and the kid is like the one watching Minecraft or something. So the kid doesn't know who I am. So it was weird to see the age get reversed. So that definitely shows you because like in the time this has happened, uh, a lot of the fans have grown up. Like so, like you said, they grew up with us.
There was a window of time where I was like, so I'm 41 now, and it was probably mid 30s, mid to late 30s, and I was like, who wants to watch a 30-something-year-old guy talk about video games? And because the generation was getting younger, so I kind of like there was it wasn't a long period, but I was like asking myself a lot, like, why am I, what am I doing, And I had the realization that the audience has grown up with me and they're now older too. So who wants to watch a 30-something, 41-year-old guy talk about video games? People who are in their mid 30s and 40s who want to talk about
Yeah,
video games. It's crazy.
yeah. Yeah, and even if you're younger, they're like and just finding it for the first time. It's cool. It's cool that it's like people have called me the OG, and I didn't even know what that meant. Um, I had to look it up, but it's cool. It's just cool that they consider me one of the original, um, you know, game reviewers, and that's just cool to have that sort of history and have that place.
Well, what do you say to those who have said like you've inspired them to be, to create content online, or you inspired them for whatever reason? What do you say to people like that?
Oh, it's just amazing. I'm just, overwhelmed by it all the time. I'm just like, "Hey, that's so cool. Thanks so much." You know, it's just awesome.
You've inspired a lot of people, dude. I don't know if you truly understand how many people like, dude, I
Oh,
grew up watching him and I was inspired by James and
oh
that
yeah.
time period, like I don't know, man. I don't know if you truly understand how much of an impact you've made.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
By the way, that's the most James response ever. Oh, cool. I love it. So I look, we're just over an hour. Is there anything that you want to say to the fans that have grown up with you, that have watched the nerd, who have that have enjoyed it, been critical of it, the whole thing? Like there's the whole, I don't know, just say whatever you want to the fans.
Oh, just thanks for watching. Thanks for watching for so many years, especially. And I enjoy making these. I just, love entertaining. Um, and I think I love it even more now. Like you kind of get older and you start to appreciate fully everything you've been through in your life, and to have something like this is great. Um, and you need therapy in a way. In some point, like these things are therapeutic. They're therapeutic for me. They're therapeutic for others. Um, like anything to like get your mind off shit. It's good. So yeah, just thanks so much for giving me this this role and this character that to play. It's been so you know, when I first did the first few episodes, I had no idea we'd still be talking about here in 2023. So, yeah.
It's been a ride. It's been a ride for sure. Man, wasn't that awesome? It was so much fun sitting down and talking with James. I don't know if you guys could truly tell how much I enjoyed talking with him. We only get a chance to talk like that every couple of years, but when we do, it's just like obviously catching up with an old friend and chit-chatting and reminiscing. And we have a lot of great memories together that are very unique to just our relationship. And he's obviously been a trendsetter in the space for a long time, and I'm really proud to know him and been there with him along his entire journey. So with that said, I think it's awesome. Once again, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button before you head out. We got a ton of videos on here. We're live Monday through Friday from 11 to, I don't know, 12, 12:30 every single day. It's a great place to hang out. We got a phenomenal community, and we're doing big things over here. If you guys are new, make sure you hit the, if you guys would like to support the channel even more, you can go to patreon.com/sidescrollers and continue to support. That is massive, and you can watch the occasional interview and other fun things we do that are exclusive to Patreon over there. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal? Go get it. We'll see you guys tomorrow live at 11 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for your support and everything, guys. Have a great day. See you guys later. Bye-bye.